Hey, so everyone and their mama is talking about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I guess I'll talk about it too. So a lot of people haven't been talking about this. Let me begin by saying that I love Zelda. I love everything about Zelda. I've always loved Zelda. I have all the games. So I think that that's my credentials, basically. So a lot of people haven't been talking about this. I'm gonna say it. At the beginning of the making of Breath of the Wild, a lot of people, or the producers rather, said that they would question two conventions of Zelda. Two, not one, two. The first one, of course, being that, oh, you do dungeons in a specific order. And clearly they've challenged that. That's very obvious. And by the way, just saying, this game looks amazing. I am absolutely on board with this game. I'm playing it. I pre-ordered the Switch. I'm going to get it on the Switch. I pre-ordered the game. I'm going to play that game. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. So regardless of what I say here, I'm going to love the game, okay? So they said that they would question that first convention of Zelda, which they clearly have. It looks completely open, completely open-ended, and I'm excited. I am so excited about that, and it's going to be amazing. But the second convention of Zelda that they said that they would question is you can only play Zelda single player. They said that they would question that. And so far, if you've been keeping up with the news, they have not revealed anything so far that lets us think that. Except for a few things that I've noticed, and for some reason, nobody else has noticed. I've seen it, and other people are like, oh, well, this must be... Like, for instance, I've been watching HMK recently, and I'm taking nothing away from him. He's doing awesome coverage of this game, but... He looks at a scene where Zelda and Link are together, and Link doesn't have a Sheikah Slate. And so he assumes, oh, this must be a past memory. And it's like, well, no, just because he doesn't have the Sheikah Slate. Guess who has the Sheikah Slate in that scene? Zelda. She has the Sheikah Slate. Now, you could be like, oh, are there two Sheikah Slates? No, there's one Sheikah Slate, and Zelda is taking Link's. You know what that means? It means there's a possible co-op. Possible. This is a stretch, okay? Bear with me. This is a stretch. But what if, in that game, at one point in the story, you meet Zelda, and she's wandering around the world, and you give her the Sheikah Slate, or she asks for the Sheikah Slate. You guys go at it, and you guys go in other places co-op. Zeltic recently spoke about a magazine where it talks about Breath of the Wild, a Japanese magazine, and it mentions Zelda, and it mentions other characters too, and I'll get to that. It mentions Zelda, and it says Zelda, you know, she's going to be voice acted, you know, all that, and then it says, well, it says before that, it says, could she possibly play a bigger part in this game? Is she going to join the action more? And I think she is. I think it's going to be an optional co-op. Well, you know what? I don't think that. Maybe that's a possibility. And it would be amazing if that was the case, because if you have one player as Link, right? Link's got the sword, shield, spear, whatever you want to hold. And then Zelda, she has the Sheikah Slate. So she can use the magnescence, she can use the kinesis rune, she can use the frost rune, she can use all the runes, and you're there, right? And that would be awesome. That would be amazing. Also, that magazine mentioned three of the characters that we saw in the most recent trailer, not the Nintendo Switch trailer, but the trailer that was for the presentation, the Switch presentation, at the end of the Switch presentation, which was amazing, and I've seen that trailer so many times now. But what they did was they showed those characters, and one thing that people haven't mentioned They showed the Goron, they showed the Zora, and confirmed that bird is a Ruto, which I thought it was going to be a Faka from Zelda 2, because I think that game's going to take place in the Downfall timeline, but I don't know. But they said it's a Ruto, which leans more towards the Wind Waker, the child, or the adult timeline. I don't know, but that's a tangent. So the Ruto, the Zora, and the Gorons, the Goron character, they introduced those guys. One thing that Zeltic didn't mention, and this was a video by Zeltic. If I haven't mentioned that before, I'll mention it now. This was a video by Zeltic. I'm getting this from Zeltic. He pointed out, oh, these different characters are here, and that's going to be cool. And the biggest thing he took away from it was that there was going to be a Ruto. But there was one thing that he didn't quite touch on, and it bugged me, and it's been bugging me ever since. Those characters have one of each the weapon types. The Zora has the trident or the spear, right? The spear weapon type. The Goron has the hammer or axe weapon type. He's probably going to use it like, the swing around, kind of the same way. Then you have the Ruto. The Ruto has a bow and arrow. And of course, you as Link have the Master Sword. Now, is it possible that they're just going to give you those weapons, and you go out into the world and you have those weapons and they don't degrade, kind of like I assume the Master Sword's not going to degrade like the other weapons in the game? Yes, that's possible. But I think it would be even cooler if those are other playable characters. If you feel better with a bow, you pick the Ruto. You feel better with a spear, you pick the Zora. You feel better with a hammer, you pick the the Goron. And that, oh my goodness, that would be so awesome. That would be amazing. Now, you may be thinking, and I was thinking about this, wouldn't they sell the game? Wouldn't they sell the game on the fact that it's multiplayer? Wouldn't they put that out? They haven't put that out at all. There's been no indication from them that this game's going to be multiplayer. And I think that because if Zelda's going to be those multiplayer, and if all these other characters are going to be in the multiplayer, they wouldn't do that because that's sacrificing the story. Because at this point, what are you doing? You're kind of telling what the story is going to be, and you're spoiling it. So far, the only things of the story that they've shown is in that Switch presentation trailer. That's all that they have shown of the actual story in this game. And with those characters, they showed those characters. They showed the Ruto, they showed the Zora, they showed the Goron. They showed those characters. And in that Zeltic magazine, not the Zeltic magazine, but the magazine that Zeltic was talking about, the Zora is going to have a special power that other Zoras don't have. There's so much in line for this to be multiplayer, and especially when you think about it, there's this massive world that's huge, and I've seen a lot of gameplay for it, for the Breath of the Wild, and when you're sitting around and you're watching it, you get the feeling that Link is in isolation. You get this isolationist feel, which is good, and it's going to be fantastic. Whether or not this game is multiplayer or not multiplayer, I'm going to enjoy the game, regardless. But because you have this huge open world, and because you have difficult enemies, a lot of people have noted how difficult these enemies look. The Guardians look very difficult. There was some other gameplay that showed what might be a Moblin or a bigger Bokoblin. I'm not sure, but it showed all of taking out 7 hearts. That's ridiculous. But if you had multiple players fighting those battles, first of all, that would be amazing, and second of all, that would just be awesome. It would just it would be awesome, and it would help the gameplay. It would make the gameplay better, in my opinion. And it would be awesome because I'm posting this on the Idja Games channel. Me and my sister have played some Zelda games in the past. We haven't posted anything for a long time. I'm going to post it on this channel. She and I have played Zelda for a very long time, and one of the biggest hopes that we've had is that you had a huge Zelda game that would be multiplayer, that I could play with my sister. Maybe I could be Link and she could be Zelda. You know, that would be one of the coolest things, and it would be amazing for me and my sister to play that, and especially a game that just looks so good. So those are my thoughts. Maybe I don't know who's gonna see this, but I think it was something that needed to be discussed because I haven't heard it discussed very often. So that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, do you think it's going to be multiplayer? Put it down in the comments. I appreciate those who have watched this. Thank you very much.